I didn't read too many. I read some books when I was younger, under the age of 11, but never really was into books as in this big thing. But I remember being 11 years old, and somehow I got into comic books. And I think it started with just walking around and I saw a comic book here and there, and the cover looks cool, so I bought it. And they were cheap; they were like $1, so I gave it a try. Got into reading comic books, and then discovered that that's what I was into. I was really into the comic books, and I dove right in. I would go to the comic book stores, buy as many comics as I could at a good price. My favorite comic book would be The Mighty Thor. I bought many comic book issues of The Mighty Thor. I think the earliest issue I had was Journey into Mystery, which was like he started Journey into Mystery, and I think it was like the sixth issue of his appearance in Journey into Mystery. And I paid like I think $6 for it because it was a half off sale on Halloween. Every year they would have half off sales at the comic book store. I would go to a comic book store called Bedrock City Comics in Houston, Texas. I forget what road it was. I was FM 1960 or Westheimer, something like that. And they even I would buy so many comics from them. I was 11 years old. One day they gave me one of their T-shirts, and they had a logo of that one guy. They made a movie of him recently. I think it was The Spirit, something like that. It was him, and they had the logo of that guy on the front. On the back, it said Bedrock City Comic Book Store, and I wore that shirt every day. My brother got a shirt of it too, and they were like too big for us, but we didn't care. We still wore it. And I even went to, I think I may have gone to 2 comic book conventions, but I remember the first one I went to was inside some Ramada hotel, and it was packed. It had a lot of great writers, some of the best comic book writers you can meet at the time. It had Frank Cho, I think that was his name, and he wrote for Liberty Meadows or something like that. And he was a cool guy. I got his autograph. Another guy, darn it, I forgot his name. But he was my favorite comic book writer, and he wrote for the Avengers, and he started doing Amazing Spider-Man after a while. Um, we got to see a lot of the art by different comic book artists that did different stuff. I mean, it was an awesome day. That day, actually, I bought an Aquaman issue number 11. I think I bought it for $1 or $11, but when I got home and I looked at the sticker closer, I was like, wow, what a great deal I got on this, $11 or something. And it was like $110, I think is what they wanted for it. I'm not sure because I looked closely and I think it had a 0 at the end. I'm not sure. I can't remember all that well, but it was a good deal on that issue number 11, and that's pretty early. That's like early 60s or 59 or something like that. Um, but that was a good experience. Haven't been to an anime convention since, and that was back in 2002, I think. Um, I was in the comic books for about a year, maybe 2 years, and then it just got to be too much. Next thing you know, there were like movies coming out, like The Punisher. I think Spider-Man 2 was about to be coming out, and it got to be too much. The comic books were way too expensive. To buy the new comic books costed at least $2 or something, and that was just after a year and you've bought 12 issues, that's like over I don't even know how much. That's like over $10, $20 for just some comic book you can read in like 5 minutes. So I think I was about 12 or 13 years old when that started happening with me. And I said to myself, I need to start reading like books, novels that are like, you know, that big, 300 pages at least, 200 pages, 180 pages, because I was getting tired of reading comic books. I could finish it in an hour and then I'd have to go get another comic book, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start reading novels or something, because at least that I can read for about, take me a couple weeks or something, you know. So that's when I was 14 and I got into books, and that's what my next video will be about books, actual novels, and how I got into that. But that's about it for comic books. Um, Nowadays, it's been about 10 years later. I'm 22, and I still dig comics, but I don't go to the comic book store. I haven't been to any comic conventions. If a movie comes out of Marvel or DC, I really don't. I'm not really into it that much. When Thor the movie came out, I was pretty excited, but then I saw the preview. I wasn't interested, even though he was my most favorite superhero ever. I just didn't see it. You know, I didn't see it happening. Um, but it was that guy's image, so he made it that way, and I'll see it eventually, because I know Avengers just came out, so I want to see it pretty bad. I want to see Thor, Captain America, and I think I'd like to go to a comic convention maybe this year or next year. I'll get to doing one sometime soon, just to see what's going on in the comic book world and all that. Um, but that's about it on comic books.